Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Today, finally moving on to the destroyers. We have finished all the frigates off again. Shame I can't actually do the Merimbium properly, but with the screenshots it's not too bad, I don't think. You never know, I might pick it up. I'll be trying to run research agreements for it, as well as the new bomber that came in, because I need that as well before I get to the fighters. And I might get lucky. I think you can get like a 22% chance of the new bomber with the research agreement. So, onto the destroyers. These are some of the best ships in the game for just generally almost everything. And it's mostly due to the fact that for their CP cost, a lot of them are some of the highest damage dealers in the game. Things like the Taurus A and the Taurus B, the Assault, are, some of the highest damage dealers in the game. The Eris Heavy Cannon, another option there. The Quawa Torps is like a mini Callisto. And again, you're running at like 8, 6 CP for some of these. So they're really cost efficient for the fleet price point, which does make them generally pretty, all-purpose and fit in most fleets. This is why you see a lot of the hybrid fleets run a mix with cruiser and destroyer, and then the reinforce is carrier. Or you have Swarm, which is all frigates, destroyers, with sometimes Jaeger and Predator cruisers, but more often than not you'll see like AC-721 for corvettes or Guardian dual purpose in those as well. Really cost efficient. They're extremely cheap. You can get them out pretty quickly as well, like max upgraded destroyer dockyard with the capital ship dockyards for it maxed out as well. These like pump out really fast, so if you lose a fleet you can quickly replace them. They're cheap to build. You don't need vast amounts of resources like you do for cruisers and battle cruisers and above. So generally speaking, destroyers are in fantastic state in the game. One of the best ships. I run hybrid fleets myself, so I run some destroyers in those. Although in this current server, I'm testing out a super heavy fleet again, which is all battle cruisers, Cass, and some solar whales carriers. But generally speaking, I tend to run a Taurus A and an Eris heavy cannon frontline, with some battle cruisers in there, and then reinforce with the carriers as my pretty standard fleet for PvP. It works quite well. It'll counter all the swarms quite nicely, and its only issues against the Immortal Spear fleet, but pretty much everything has a problem with that at the moment. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. I'll leave Winged Hussar a little bit later on. I'd rather do the Tundras and the Aldebras now, I think, because they're worth talking about, I think, a bit more. I think I've kind of covered the Winged Hussar, and I mentioned it quite a lot within recent videos of its AA capabilities and stuff. And I've also done a setup on the AA specifically, I think, not too long ago as well. So I'll leave that one for a little bit later on. So we'll dump into the Tundra. So the base Tundra is the support variant. It's a healer. It does okay at it. You got the Tundra UAV system here. We've got anti-aircraft UAVs and repair UAVs. I will want to note here though, the anti-aircraft are counter-attack, and I believe you can't get them into row wide at any point, which sucks a bit. So they only actually deal any AA damage when they're being attacked. So you do not want to bring them in specifically to screen for AA. They are not very good at it. It is a back row ship though, so you can go straight into its support. And first off, the emergency repairs. When the HP falls to 20%, all onboard UAVs perform self-repair and increase repair effectiveness by 100% for 40 seconds. Only triggers once per battle. You can and don't have to take this, but you can take it if you want. I personally do like picking this up, but I pick it up at the very end. I personally would go for twice the the UAV repair effectiveness. This is going to help you out quite a lot. Just increase the amount of repair these UAVs are doing. After that, go for the 2 flight time and weapon cooldowns, and that's pretty much where it is. Like, for the majority of its, you know, healing potential, hit rate doesn't really affect it. The flight times we've already picked up, the repair we've already picked up. So this puts you in a position now where you've got 2 slots free where you can try and increase the damage that the anti-aircraft UAVs are doing. But as you can see, they're only 30 damage per hit, so they're only going to get 3 damage for each, you know, 10% that you pick up from the airborne weapon maintenance system. So this is where I would pick up the emergency repairs, and then you have a slot free. Again, nothing really great here. Increase system HP by 7%, or you pick up one of the damage mods. It's up to you. I pick up the system HP by 7%, and that just gives it a little bit more leeway if something is targeting hangars and stuff on ships, because they will target this system specifically, so you can keep it alive a bit longer. The UAV repair effectiveness, 5% is nice to have. I don't use the Tundra for repairs at any point now. And the enhanced repair beam actually affects this one here and increases the UAV's repair effectiveness. So they are worth picking up. Again, like I said though, I don't run the Tundra for its support. There are better. I prefer the Guardian if I was going to run it, and the Series is a better healer. The Noma again is a better healer, and the Cass Arcs. So in my opinion, the Tundra is probably the worst in the game. But it does bring in some amount of AA when it's getting targeted, which is kind of nice, but it's not fantastic, unfortunately. After that, you can go into the rapid battery system for the weapons. Again, we have anti-aircraft counterattack, which means it's only going to get do anything when it's being attacked. However, you have got anti-aircraft support here. When the primary locks onto an enemy aircraft in the nearby row and launches attacks, increases the hit rate by 40% every 30 seconds for 25 seconds. So you can get a good uptime of row-wide anti-air here. I don't believe this applies to the UAV system, though. It is just this generic cannon system that we have here. But you are getting an increased damage of 30 here on top of your 25, so it's not too bad in dealing with them. To spec this out properly, pick up the anti-aircraft support first, pick up the hit rate against fighters and corvettes, obviously, and then you have 2 slots left. This is where you can pick up dual cooldown, which is probably what I'd recommend, or a single cooldown and the lock-on efficiency. The lock-on efficiency is not too bad on this, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Lock-on time at 3 seconds, it's not too bad, but you can increase the lock-on efficiency a little bit so it gets that lock-on a little bit faster. Wouldn't personally recommend upgrading this for the 5% extra damage. There are better things to spend your weapon tech on, so I would ignore this and grab some other stuff first. And you have the anti-aircraft support upgrade, which increases the amount of time that this will be active for. So, all in all, not a bad little ship. You've got an armor system to go through, but I'm pretty certain it's just HP you want to be picking up here. You've got a HP mod. You can either go HP and energy resistance, which is probably what I'd recommend here, just to help it against things like Vetus Bees. Propulsion doesn't matter. There is a command system. Command the fleet to launch a strategic strike on a 90-degree fan-shaped area within 6 GM radius, which is kind of completely and utterly redundant because this thing doesn't actually carry anything in. So, and most of the carriers that you do get do have the ability to put a strategic strike down. So I don't understand why this has it. And you also have evasion of aircraft carrying out the strategic strike by 2%. So you can flat out ignore both of those and pick them up on more likely your actual carriers that you're using, because obviously this has no space for any of that. Prop system, 2 cruising speeds, nothing really going on there. And yeah, that is the Tundra support. Again, it's probably the worst of the healers in my personal opinion, and testing's kind of proved that to a point. It does less AA than the Guardian not dual purpose, the Guardian support, sorry. It's less healing than Ceres, less healing than the Noma. So yeah, unfortunately, if you need sustain, and you don't have anything else, it's okay, it works. It's, you know, C tier, B tier. It's perfectly fine, but you won't get the healing of, say, the Ceres or the Noma, and the Guardian has slightly better AA. So yeah. Aircraft type. Now, this is one of the best ships in the game, in my opinion, and it's specifically to do with the fact that if we have a look at its Tundra aircraft system here, you can see it comes with a lot of flat buffs. We've got a 10% aircraft invasion, and we have 15% increased hit rate as a flat base. So anything that gets paired up with this, in my opinion, Mistrals are absolutely ridiculous on this, because they get a lot of hit rate anyway. This is going to give it 15% flat hit rate and 10% evasion. And then on top of that, when we come into here, you can pick up a further hit rate. There we go. There's a further 20% hit rate, I think it is, after upgrading, which is just insane. So now you're at 35% increased hit rate on whatever you put in here, and it just gets better, quite honestly. After that, picking up the lock-on speed will help out your aircraft, and then you can go for damage or increase the missile evasion of aircraft in the hangar by 6%. Definitely pick this one up. You have, you know, 6 slots to go through, so you can go hit rate, lock-on speed, missile evasion. After that, I don't personally pick up the damage because the Mistrals that I run on it, they're not the biggest hitters in the world, so the increased damage doesn't really help me. So I like picking up chance of being hit by guided weapons reduced by 4%. This applies to the ship itself, not your aircraft. This gives you the ability to, because it's back row, you're going to dodge more of the missiles and stuff incoming, and that's going to be really important to keep this alive, to keep your Mistrals in the fight for longer, because most of the time you're going to find that your Mistrals will die, because the Tundra probably dies more often than not. After that, I pick up the reduced flight time and primary weapon cooldown of aircraft by 4%. This is, again, really nice on Mistrals. Strix do really well with this one as well. And this is upgraded as well, so it increases it by another, I think it's 15%. So it's pretty good. And that leaves you 1 slot for evasive maneuvers. You can choose to leave this one. When the ship HP falls to 20%, increase evasion by 40% for 40 seconds. This effect triggers only once per battle. It gives you a little bit of extra staying power, but generally speaking, when you're getting to that sort of low HP anyway, as soon as those 40 seconds are up, this thing's just going to explode and die. So it's not perfect, but there's not much better to really choose from in this situation anyway. You got system HP, you can pick up the damage in its place as well. So yeah, it's up to you on the last pick. Evasive maneuvers, I personally pick just to give it a little bit extra staying power when it needs it. But generally speaking, you're probably going to die if you're losing your Tundras quite quickly, and that's triggering anyway. After that, I go into the armor system, I pick up the ship HP, and I pick up the energy resists most of the time. You can go armor, it depends what sort of players you're facing, if they're more kinetic heavy or if they're more energy damage heavy. Going on to the integrated armory again, this is where I would start off picking the same as the base version, the anti-aircraft support. Going into the fast lock to get the hit rate, the fast target analysis enhancement to get the increased hit rate, and double cooldown. And you have 1 extra slot where I pick up the lock-on efficiency here. The damage, again, not particularly great. You have got a torpedo with 150 damage on here, but you're more likely to be using the cannons for the AA, so bear that in mind. And again, these are counter-attack, and this is small ship, so it's not really going to help too much at all. The damage will increase that a little bit. You'll get an extra 15 damage on it. or you can get the lock-on efficiency to sort of help with that AA ability to deal with row-wide AA anyway. And again, I wouldn't pick up the damage of all weapon systems here again, and I probably save my my weapon tech for other things. The anti-aircraft support, though, does increase this and increases the time duration that it's active for, which is actually quite nice. So it is worth picking up, potentially. I forgot to mention here, you have damage of all aircraft in the hangar by 5%, which is actually not too bad. And we have rearmament acceleration, which is on the weapon cooldown, which I mentioned. I think it's about 15% when upgraded. There is no command system on this one, unfortunately. It seems like to me that the support one, the command system, should have been on the aircraft type, which is a mistake by the devs. I have pointed it out to them when this happened, but I don't believe anything has happened since. Propulsion system is same as the other one as well. You only have the double cruising speed to pick from. Good aircraft to pair with this thing. Mistrals do really, really well. Strix do really, really well. In the case that this is in your main fleet, spores are really quite nasty on this thing. That increased hit rate on spores does make them pretty formidable in the AA department. So yeah, generally speaking, put your ships that are good at AA on this. Give them that increased hit rate. Sorry, put your fighters on this that have good AA. Give them that increased hit rate and the increased evasion, and let them go ham deleting enemy aircraft. So yeah, that is it for the Tundra. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.